who have come to the city from around the world. This kind of tragic incident is not representative of how we live or who we are.
With respect to the crime scene, it's a very large scene. The official count that we have right now, unfortunately, we have 10 people that have succumbed to their injuries.
Difficult time. That was Mayor John Tory and Police Chief Mark Saunders reacting a year ago to the Yonge Street tragedy. What happened deeply impacted the city. It also led to a very complex investigation. And joining us today to talk a little bit about where the city is now 1 year on is the mayor and the chief. And thank you both very much for joining us this morning. Mayor, first off, your thoughts 1 year on.
Well, it represented a kind of loss of innocence for the city, I'm afraid to say, because I think we'd always thought that these kinds of things happen somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But it also showed the strength of the city. I mean, when you saw the city really heal itself and you saw the community on North Yonge Street, you saw people gather around in an unbelievable way, the victims and their families, and to support them and help them. And you saw us not overreact in the sense that, well, the chief and his other first responders have put in place measures to make sure the city stays safe. We haven't changed the way we live here, which is something that I spoke about that day, and that I think we want to remind ourselves we live in a way here that I think we want to protect it all, with every effort we can.
It's a difficult balance, though, to do that.
Yeah, it is. You don't want the city to look like a secure state. You want it to look like what Toronto is and what we represent. And so having to figure out how to properly align the proper resources to keep the city safe, but also have it reflect as to what Toronto is. And so we have learned how to have a plan in play. We've always had a plan in play. We've executed the plan, unfortunately, last year more than once. But to go forward, the strength and relationships that we have developed from a security perspective has improved tremendously. The alignment that we have with the city and with the levels of government have also improved quite strongly. And today it's just remembering that there was tremendous loss of life in our city in a way that we've never seen it before. And as the mayor said, how everybody stepped up and figured out how to turn things around and bring it back to who we are and what we represent.
And are you happy with the balance? I mean, I remember last year seeing the dump trucks in front of events trying to block off routes for any potential like that. But do you think you've managed to strike the balance over the last year where people get to live their lives without having to think too much about that?
No, absolutely. And I will say we've learned how to improve our plan. We've learned stronger collaboration with private-public sector and with government. When we talk about issues and concerns, people have more knowledge now. I think before we had a strong understanding of it could happen here, and it wasn't a matter of if but when. It has happened. We've figured out how to move forward. The measures that we put in play are necessary because this is the world we live in now, Roger. And just as of 2 days ago, when you see what's going on around the world, we're part of the world, and we have to figure out how to deal with these situations when they do arrive in your hometown.
It is a difficult balance. Some people have said, I was reading about, talking about Vision Zero, saying implementing more of that could have an impact on security as well for such situations. Your thoughts on that, Mayor?
Well, we're going to be doing that because it's the right thing to do, aside from these kinds of hopefully random security incidents or incidents like of the kind that happened a year ago, because it's the right thing to do to keep people safe. But there is no one thing that anybody can do to completely prevent these kinds of things from happening. You just do your best to make sure and that you put the measures in place to make it less likely and to make sure that people are vigilant. I mean, I think that's the most important thing that probably has arisen out of this as much as anything, the 2 incidents last year, that people are more vigilant in watching what's going on around them, as they should be and as they need to be in a big city in 2019.
Now, you talked about how Toronto's lost its innocence. How different are we from 1 year ago? What do you think? Walking around the city and going around the city and talking to so many people, what's the one thing that stands out?
Well, thank goodness. I don't think we are much different, but I think we're just aware of the fact now, as the chief said, this can happen here. It was a matter of when, not if, because this is a big city. It's a global city. It is a city that's very much on the map for bad people as well as for all the good people who live here and want to come here. We continue to be a magnet. So the city has gone in the past year from success to success, but I think we're now more aware of these things. We keep an eye out on these kinds of things. Our excellent security and police, apparatus are doing things in a subtle Toronto kind of way to make sure that we stay safe. And so I think in that sense, and I think we've been resilient too. We've helped people with the healing that had to go on, in the community at large, but also very particularly for the victims, including those who are injured, who are alive today and their lives forever changed.
It was also, very much a tragic reminder. We've always said we're a city of neighborhoods, and it really did show, didn't it? That we are neighborhoods. We're a big city, but we're very small in many ways, and people come together, don't they?
Yeah, this was truly a case of all hands on deck. When we look at the first responders and how they responded, and it's just you forget everything and just try to help to the best of your ability in that moment, in that situation. So many citizens did the exact same thing as well, too. And I remember looking at some of the news clips, because you're in the moment, you're just focused on what you need to do. But when you get to exhale and take a step back and look, some of the pictures taken really reflected how strong community members were to do anything and everything they could to help comfort, to help heal, to help save lives. And it is a testament of Toronto.
I remember going, Roger, to the funeral homes. I felt as the mayor I should go to the funeral homes. I think I tried to get to those of all of the victims. And you didn't know who was going to be there, but there were hundreds of people there. And you realized as you walked along the lineup talking to people, 99.9% of them were strangers to the families of those victims, but they showed up because they knew that was something they could do, just as the people on the sidewalk knew there was something they could do, and they went ahead and did it. And that was part of that strength and resiliency of the city that I was talking about. Every one of those people helped in their own way to heal the city and proved, as you said, that it is a city of neighborhoods, a city of communities. It's a city where people really do care about each other, and we have to keep it that way.
And, excuse me, Chief, we had Bonnie Levine on from Victim Services. It was a stressful year for first responders. Have you noticed them reaching out for help over the last year, especially trying to process what happened?
Yeah, well, we've noticed that more citizens are asking for help. The one thing that was new to me was that other events can re-trigger and have more people that need help as a result of. And so as we hit the 1 year, I wouldn't be surprised if certain people may reflect and may need help. You never know how it manifests with each individual. There is no timeline with when you're going to have concerns or you need help. And I'm glad that Victim Services, the fact that we have Victim Services, such a robust group of men and women who are out there helping and making that difference when it comes to the healing process, has been extremely beneficial to the city and also to us as an organization.
Okay, Mayor, Chief, thank you very much for joining us. I know you'll both be at the services today.
Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us. For more information on how the tragedy and victims are being honored today, head to bttoronto.ca.